If you've been paying attention to gaming in 2025, you've probably heard people talking about Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This game seemingly came out of nowhere and quickly became one of the most talked about RPGs of the year, sweeping multiple awards, including the Game Awards of 2025, and earning praise from both critics and players alike. And after spending roughly 40 hours with the game myself, I can honestly say I understand why. Now, before we begin, I want to make one thing very clear. This is a completely spoiler-free review. In fact, if you're even remotely interested in playing Clair Obscur Expedition 33, I strongly encourage you to go in as blind as possible. I played the game completely blind, knowing very little about the story beyond the basic premise, and I genuinely believe that made the experience significantly better. There are moments in this game that hit harder when you don't see them coming, and trust me, you want to experience those for yourself. So with that said, let's talk about what Clair Obscur Expedition 33 actually is, how it plays, and whether or not it's worth your money. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a turn-based role-playing game with reaction-based combat mechanics. Set in a fantasy world inspired by France, the game follows a group of expeditioners on a mission to destroy the mysterious Paintress. Developed by Sandfall Interactive and published by Kepler Interactive in 2025, the game quickly left its mark on the industry and became one of the standout titles of the year. At the time of this review, the game is priced at $49.99 USD. Having spent around 40 hours completing my playthrough, it falls just under my personal $1 per hour value benchmark. But value isn't just about playtime, it's about the experience itself. So, let's start with the gameplay. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 follows the journey of Gustave, Lune, Maël, Ciel, and the rest of the expedition as they set out to stop the Paintress and prevent the annual gommage. The game follows a largely linear story, but that's not a bad thing. The world is beautifully designed and constantly encourages exploration as you move from one location to the next. Combat is where Clair Obscur truly sets itself apart. While technically turn-based, battles are heavily focused on player reactions. You'll be dodging, parrying, and timing actions rather than simply selecting attacks and watching numbers fly across the screen. Think of it as a blend between traditional turn-based RPG combat and the reactive mechanics you'd normally expect from an action game. Each character has their own unique skill tree, combat style, and abilities, allowing for a surprising amount of customization. On top of that, every character has access to multiple weapons that further change how they perform in combat. The amount of synergy you can create between party members is honestly impressive, and even after 40 hours, I feel like I only scratched the surface of what's possible. Progression feels rewarding throughout the entire game. Leveling is paced well, especially if you're taking the time to engage with the enemies along your path. And, speaking from experience, don't skip too many fights early on. I made that mistake. A few times early in the game, I avoided combat because I wanted to push the story forward, only to find myself hitting a wall later against a major boss. I ended up having to backtrack and do some grinding before I could continue. The difficulty strikes a nice balance. Combat can be challenging, but it rarely feels unfair, and when you finally overcome a difficult boss, the sense of accomplishment is incredibly satisfying. Now, I should mention that I'm honestly not very good at reaction-based combat. Perfect dodges and parries are not my strong suit, but that's actually one of the reasons I enjoyed the game so much. Learning enemy attack patterns, slowly improving, and finally mastering encounters created some of the most rewarding moments in my playthrough. Here we go. Yes! We did it! Yes! Our leveling paid off, words! Oh my gosh, we did it! Okay. Woo! So, if the reaction-based combat is the one thing keeping you from trying this game, I would encourage you to give it a chance. If I can get through it, you absolutely can too. The visuals in Clair Obscur Expedition 33 are absolutely breathtaking. From the opening moments to the final credits, the game constantly delivers stunning environments, creative world design, and incredible visual storytelling. There were countless moments where I found myself stopping just to take in the scenery. For reference, I play on PC and capped my game at 90 FPS. Because of that, I did notice that some cutscenes appeared slightly lower in visual quality compared to gameplay. This is largely due to how the cutscenes are optimized. That said, the cutscenes are still absolutely gorgeous and never detracted from the experience. The voice acting is also excellent. In fact, it almost feels like the performances get stronger as the game progresses. The cast does an incredible job bringing the characters to life, and many of the emotional moments land because of their performances. The sound design deserves praise as well. Combat sounds impactful and aggressive, making every successful attack feel satisfying. The only criticism I have is that the dodge and parry system relies heavily on audio cues. While visual indicators do exist, I found the audio cues to be significantly more reliable. Having additional accessibility options for players who struggle with audio-based timing would be a welcome improvement. And then there's the story. Without spoiling anything, this story has lived in my head rent-free since I finished the game. As someone who has been a fan of Final Fantasy for many years, Clair Obscur gave me that same feeling of wonder and discovery that I love from great RPGs. Not because it's similar to Final Fantasy, it's actually quite different. But it captures that same sense of adventure, mystery, emotional investment, and unforgettable moments that make you think about a game long after you finished it. There are twists I never saw coming. There are reveals that completely changed my understanding of events. And there are moments that genuinely left me speechless. And that's exactly why I keep stressing this. Play it blind. Avoid story breakdowns. Avoid spoiler videos. Avoid comment sections discussing the plot. Avoid the comment sections altogether. Just experience it for yourself. You'll thank yourself later. On the technical side, my experience was excellent. Playing on PC, I encountered very few bugs, minimal loading times, and consistently smooth performance throughout my playthrough. As I mentioned earlier, my total playtime came in at around 40 hours. At $49.99 US, that puts the game just under my personal $1 per hour benchmark. But even if it didn't meet that metric, I'd still consider it worth the asking price. Between the various characters, weapon combinations, skill trees, optional content, and build possibilities, there's plenty of replay value here for players who want more. The game feels complete, polished, and packed with meaningful content. So, my final verdict? Is Clair Obscur 33 worth buying? Absolutely. It is one of the easiest recommendations I've made in a long time. The combat is engaging and rewarding, the presentation is stunning, the characters are memorable, the story is incredible, and the overall experience stayed with me long after the credits rolled. It takes a little time to adjust to the reaction-based combat mechanics, but once everything clicks, it's incredibly satisfying. If you enjoy RPGs, turn-based combat, strong storytelling, or simply want to experience one of the standout games of 2025, I highly recommend giving Clair Obscur Expedition 33 a chance. And most importantly, I know I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again, go in blind. Trust me, it is worth it. My final score for Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a 9 out of 10. A truly unforgettable RPG experience that deserves all of the praise that it has received. And that's going to do it for my spoiler-free review of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. If you've already played the game, let me know what your final score was down in the comments below. And if you haven't played it yet, I'd love to hear whether this review convinced you to give it a shot. As always, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing for more reviews, gameplay content, and gaming discussions here on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care. Bye-bye! There's a flag. You know what that means. Oh, what the crap? I do not like that. I do not like that. No, no, no.